Welcome to English Practice Stories.
Hello, my dear friends. How are you? Pressing like and subscribe is a big help for me. Let's start the story. My family experienced something I can't explain, and we've stopped talking to each other. I don't know what to do. I don't want to sound crazy. We're normal people. If any of this sounds familiar, please reach out to me. I need to know what's happening to my family. It's hard to know where to begin. I don't know when this all started, but it hasn't stopped. I live with my wife and 2 college-age daughters. I'm a private chef. My wife is a teacher. We live in a suburb outside a coastal U.S. city, in an 80s-era planned community where every house and street feels like a mirror image. Crisp lawns, HOAs. Everyone knows everyone. The people are a little bland, but we have a yard and a pool, and we can pay for groceries, and we can, barely, afford to send our kids to college out of state. We were lucky, I thought. My first experience with the supernatural was last spring. Okay, you're really going to hate this one, Sarah said. It was Monday, my Saturday, and I was grilling vegetables by the pool. My eldest daughter, a born trickster, sat on the least broken pool chair, bombarding me with the most willfully ignorant pop music she could find, terrible cooking videos, or clips of classic cars refurbished with electric motors. Anything to get a reaction out of her poor Gen X dad. Please no. How about the guy who makes things out of chocolate? I countered, hoping for a compromise. I'm looking for the Kings game you went to in 2006, where they lost 1-10. Sarah jabbed. I'm burning your food on purpose. I quipped. Wait. Sarah said, suddenly still. Whatever this thing is, whatever these things are, my wife and my daughters feel it before I do. I don't know if they're more sensitive to it or what, but they always know something is there before me. Call it women's intuition. What's wrong? As I said, I remember it getting very quiet. Like the volume for the outside world turned all the way down. The birds, the traffic, and the white noise of suburbia went silent. I couldn't even hear the sizzle of the vegetables cooking 2 feet in front of me. The lack of sound didn't bother me, however, because I saw something in the sky. A disc. I didn't want to see a disc, but I saw a disc. It was made of metal, perfectly smooth, with no rivets, no seams, no wings, and no exhaust. A perfectly formed metal disc, 15 feet wide, like 2 contact lenses stuck together just sitting there. There were lights, big ones, bright in the sun, even in the middle of the day, moving all around it. I remember thinking, really? Part of me was exasperated at how, well, dumb it looked. Like an old movie model. Only somehow did I know it was real. And I was being watched. And then I felt the fear. If you ask me, I think the craft makes people feel it. I don't know. I know it sounds crazy. It's like madness. It fills you up, cold, just pure terror. As soon as your eyes see a craft, in a few seconds, your mind blanks and you feel only fear for the thing in front of you. The disc-shaped ones and the triangle-shaped ones always seem to broadcast the fear. I'd never felt panic like that. I know how to deal with it a little easier now, but back then I wanted to put my daughter in the car and drive as far away from the thing as possible. Only I was completely frozen. I couldn't move and I couldn't speak. I could only move my eyes, and even that took tremendous effort. I struggled to look in my daughter's direction, and I saw that she was equally paralyzed. Her pupils turned to me, then back to the craft. And we did that for a few seconds, trying to process what was happening, looking to the disc, to each other and back. It was agony. And then the disc was gone. I was looking right at it. It didn't fly away. It didn't zoom off at incredible speeds. It was like it stopped existing while I was staring at it. When it was gone, I could move and breathe, and my daughter started crying. I comforted her, and we swore and shook. What the hell was that? Are you okay? I remember we both asked that. I remember reaching for my phone, but it was dead. Sarah's phone was dead too. We went inside to charge them, still in a daze. Your face is really red, said Sarah, concerned. I caught my reflection in the hallway mirror. She was right. My face was burned, like a sunburn. I wear sunblock every day and often work long hours in the sun. I never get sunburned. I'll get you some aloe, Sarah said, retreating into the downstairs bathroom. I glanced at the oven clock. It was 3 hours later than I expected. 3 hours. I muttered. We were only outside for a few minutes, right? Sarah's eyes widened in realization. What happened to us? Sarah said it softly. We were missing time. I don't know where that time went. I don't know what happened during that time. Time feels weird around these things. It's hard to describe. We didn't talk much for a while. We just kind of sat in the living room, scrolling our phones. The evening darkened. I remember thinking I wanted to say something, but I didn't know what. My wife Lauren and our youngest daughter Danny returning home from work broke us out of our malaise. A UFO burned your face, Lauren said, incredulous. Lauren was always funny, even when she wasn't trying to be. I won't lie, it sounded dumb. I tried to think of how to word it better. I saw it too. It was really weird. Sarah said, seriously, are you sure you weren't standing too close to the grill again? Danny teased. Her pants were covered in flour and oil, and her hair was pulled back. Danny worked at a restaurant, despite my objections. You're supposed to make the food in the restaurant, not in your outfit. I teased back. Danny smirked. She liked kitchen talk. She was a lot like me in that way. I don't understand. Did you provoke them? Why'd they come all the way from space just to burn you? Lauren asked, spreading student tests on the dining room table. Did it look like the ones we saw when we were kids? Danny asked Sarah. No, this one was different. It was a different shape. Sarah said, shaking her head. What are you talking about? Which ones? I asked, confused. Do you remember the night we saw the blue elf? Danny asked. Memories of Sarah and Danny as kids flooded my brain. One night, there was a brilliant blue light in the sky. Sarah and Danny ran into our room to hide. The feeling of someone watching. The memory filled me with dread. Feeling uncomfortable, I tried to change the subject. I don't want to cook tonight. Let's order out. What should we get? I said, presenting a distraction. We ate dinner as a family that night. We talked about normal things. I tried to seem unbothered, but I was obsessively turning over the sight of the disc in my mind. What was that? Why couldn't we move? The feeling stayed with me long after the meal had ended and the dishes were done. I remember that was our last normal dinner. I wish I'd made more of an effort that night. We'll never be the same family as we were then. I guess before I tell you about that night, I should explain what an orb is. An orb is a kind of floating sphere. It looks kind of like a blue basketball filled with spaghetti-looking strands of something. It has a mind, I think. I don't know what these things are. From what I can tell, they are unknowable. They will harm you. If you see an orb, my advice is to run. They can move through walls. The first night with the orbs changed all of our lives forever. We stopped talking after that night. I don't know if I can write it down in detail yet. Even this was hard. I read something recently. Scientists have communicated with apes via sign language since the 1960s. In all that time, apes have never asked a question. Maybe they can't conceive of what a question is. Their minds just can't form the reasoning to understand how to think of one. I think that's what it's like when we see these things. These orbs, discs, or whatever. We're seeing something we can't comprehend. I don't think we think about aliens the right way. They're not from another planet. They're from somewhere else entirely. Something has happened to my family. Something happened, and we're still dealing with it, and I don't know what to do. I'm afraid to tell people. We're afraid to talk about it with each other. I'm not even sure if anyone will read this. The world needs to know what's out there and what my family experienced. My family can't be the first. There must be others. If you're still with me after these ramblings, thank you. The next part will not be easy to write, but you deserve to know the full truth about what the orbs did to us, what they're capable of. For now, I present to you this information. I do not think we live in a completely material world. There are supernatural forces all around us, and most of them are unkind. Be careful with how you think and what you think of. Thank you for listening to the story. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon to meet us again and hear more stories like this.
If you like our story, subscribe English Practice Stories channel and click the bell icon.